are live.
Are we?
Yes, I think we are live.
I hope.
We are.
Hello, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Excuse us for the last 2-3 days. There have been a lot of travel, the GST conclave, so on and so forth. So there was a bit of a miss. I also read some comments which said that if we hurry through the Q&A, as a certain colleague of ours did, then our regular viewers are upset. So we'll try and not do that.
But you know, before that day when we were doing Bull, Bear and Banter, we had a question for you specifically, which was on cars. I don't remember the name of the person, but he asked saying ki, now that we are getting Mercedes, Audi, etc. on a huge discount, will you still buy Indian cars only? Or will you go ahead and buy something like a Mercedes?
No, I mean, see, my primary funda of buying a car is the one which emits less carbon into the air. That's my primary funda now. I would love to buy an EV, but EV charging still has issues. Though you can argue that, but people will laugh at me saying that boss Bombay mein rehta hai aur EV charging ka problem karta hai. But also societies need to have that, right?
Yeah.
And my building doesn't have it. So therefore, it's a small problem for me. Had that not been the case, I would have bought an EV. Right now, I have a hybrid. I'm fine with buying a Toyota hybrid or a Maruti hybrid or some other hybrid, as the case may be, as long as it's made in India. I need to verify that. If a Mercedes or a BMW has a EV and if it's made in India, I have no issues buying it. It should be made in India.
Okay.
Simple. We are built in India, but Indian at heart, global in spirit.
Lovely.
What would the two of you do?
I think we should also follow the same strategy. I think if each of us can be a contributor to the Indian economy, right? That's how the economy will grow, despite of the global headwind going on. And I think that's the best way to deal with the situation, right?
Yeah.
You can be one of the contributors to growing India's economy.
So before we talk, and because we're in the topic of shopping, and we'll get Mahima to talk about where to shop from this season. Yeah, it's a fantastic piece. So we'll come to the markets in a bit, viewers. You have to give us the likes. Please give us the likes. Okay, thank you so much. Then we can get the questions. And we'll also talk about the Nepal protest. And today we'll get in two special appearances on the show today. So can we have the phone switched off here, please? Thank you so much. Okay, so the first thing, a simple hack. If you're buying on any of the websites, right? If you do a Control F for the country of origin, and if you see India, then it's a good way to buy. You might argue that some of the products might be available cheaper than the one that you're buying, but if you can afford it, take that step and buy that slightly expensive product, simply because 50% of India can't afford to do that. So they have to buy what is given to them. If you and I can afford it, then we should buy the slightly expensive thing if it's made in India and if the quality is good for you. So please keep that in mind. That's a small appeal from mine. I do that now for the last 5-6 years or something like that. I do look at the country of origin before I buy.
And that's for the smallest items, right? Especially because festivities are kicking in. Like from small diyas that you buy from roadside vendors, that should be the best thing to support the Indian economy, and even those small vendors.
You know, मुझे किसी ने social media पे बोला that so मैंने when PM Modi went to China, I put out the tweet that there is a good thing. So that person mockingly wrote, this year I will not see a tweet on asking people not to buy Chinese firecrackers. To which I replied that every year I put out this HP ad wherein this young kid is helping this old lady sell off all her diyas.
Yes.
Buy local. I'm not against any one product or any other country. I'm just saying, if you can buy made in India, buy made in India. That's my simple appeal.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I stay in the western suburbs, so the Santa Cruz, man, they started to, because a lot of consumers, they started to, we don't want to buy every year new thing, like, in terms of lighting, in terms of products, whatever.
Yeah.
So now they've started to look at Indian products also, which have that longevity that can go till your next Diwali as well. So and I asked him specifically last, that is this Indian or is this also Chinese? He was like, nahi, idhar to almost 80% to ye Indian hi banta hai. And he had that box also, which you can read in terms of if it's written, if it's Indian or no. So hopefully this year also they continue that trend. But there is a vocal for local, at least in much higher spirits over the last few years that we can see.
Killer. So Mahima, let's tweak this topic and talk about where to buy stuff from. One is making money, one is saving money. Mahima is talking about saving money?
Saving money, yes,
Okay,
for sure.
let's talk about it.
You will talk about making money.
Yes, of course. So what I did yesterday for TV was that an interesting study has come out as to where you should go ahead and buy your groceries from this festive season, and they've tried to kind of compare the discounts being offered by different quick commerce and e-commerce platform. Right now, the highest discount is being given by DMart Ready. So, how I would want to put this is, if you have 1 day patience, buy all your groceries from DMart Ready and get it delivered the next day. But if you want a quick delivery, and if you are in Bangalore, and Amazon now is now coming to Mumbai as well, you can go ahead and buy on Amazon now, because both DMart Ready and Amazon now are giving on an average 23% discount on your
This is
groceries. This
on
is
groceries.
on groceries.
Okay.
So that includes your staples, your shampoos, your butter, etc. On an average, 20, as high as 23%. It's very interesting. And then followed by something like a Zepto Saver or Geomart, because Zepto, and this is Zepto Max Saver, not just Zepto. So you will have to have a minimum cart limit to just apply that Max Saver feature. Then Flipkart Minutes at around 20%. Then Instamart Max Saver at 17%. BB Now at 16%. And then your regular Blinkit, Zepto, and Instamart without the Max Saver feature at around 15%. And it is also interesting as to how competition has intensified in quick commerce and e-commerce, because if we go back 2 years back, 2 or 3 years back, October 22, the discount was as low as 7%, average discount I'm talking about. Then in October 24, it rose to around 11. And right now, the average discounting across platform is at 17%. And I think going ahead also, I don't know how these discounts will go further, but I think after a given point of time, it has to be capped, right? Because then margins and profitability of all of these companies will get hurt, because they're burning cash right now, essentially. So we'll have to see as to how this 17% goes from here on in terms of average discounting. But yes, so this is the overall view of how discounting. But of course, yeah, one more thing here was assortment wise, which quick commerce platform is better right now? Blinkit and Instamart is the best place to go to in terms of assortment, because they've got a lot of variety compared to something like Zepto or a Geomart or BB Now.
There, we saved you money. Give us likes.
Now this is the next
Yeah, so that's one. The other way to save money, right, Puneet? Tell us, you've spoken about this enough times, but where is it that discounts are the highest? In the cars and the bikes and whatever else.
I mean,
do you
of
track
course-
cycles too?
No, not really, not as of now. So in terms of cars specifically, we've seen, of course, the luxury ones have seen the highest reduction in terms of quantum.
Yeah, percentage.
But in terms of there are some models, and this is not branded by any source, but some models of Mahindra specifically, which were like the 3XO, that has seen a major reduction of roughly about 1.2 to 1.3 lakhs. So in terms of their
MRP of?
On the MRP of roughly about 10 lakhs. So because those are just, and this is what I've been actually looking at. The smaller cars, which were priced between 8 to 9 lakhs, not smaller actually, the compact SUVs, there are some which meet the limit of 1.2 liters of petrol and sub 4 meters. And the 3XO is one of them. On the sub side, you'll have a similar amount Brezza. But because it's 1.4 liter diesel, it's now gone to 40%. And there is the problem for a consumer who's entering that space and who wants a Maruti as a trusted brand, because there's no doubt that the Brezza can run for 60, 70, 80,000 kilometers. But suddenly you have it now going in a higher GST bracket from 28, 31% almost to 40.
तो वो 10% वहाँ बढ़ गया और यहाँ पे कितना घट गया?
यहाँ पे घट गया 10% from 28.
तो nearly 20% का फर्क पड़ गया.
And you're seeing that huge differential now across models. And we put that piece out on September 4th, and that came that the 3XO specifically, and for across automakers, there are these some models which have got a higher differential. Most of them are SUVs. The SUV 700. For Hyundai also, it's not the Creta which has actually gotten cheaper. It's the 70,000 rupee reduction, but something in there is the Venue, and that is another one. Similar space, compact SUV, you get 1.3 lakhs. So I feel, while for Maruti you will see that huge smaller car boom, and that seems to be penciled in, I think this compact SUV space is going to blast off, and I think while that will be a beneficiary, you might see some deceleration in used car space, because that used to get a higher benefit. But definitely it's going to burst, grow substantially, because I think that sells roughly about 6 lakhs cars in a year, the compact SUV space, from 6 to 14 lakhs. So I think that's gonna be the next big thing, and I think all future launches also, a lot of them we're going to see in that space.
Watch out. By the way, if Anushi is back, Anushi should come in. So that's part one. Just a brief on the markets before we talk about Nepal. And if our colleague Saya Shah is here, she can come in too for Nepal. But I definitely want your view there. But just a word on the markets. Somehow, something tells me that we are poised for an up move. The build up is there. The the chart patterns, according to experts, are looking good. Yesterday we spoke to Manav Chopra,
exactly. Yeah.
who is constructive there too. And you just look at the pattern. Yes, there is selling at the fag end of the day, but you see stocks are not selling off to bad news very meaningfully. And in certain cases, when there is seriously good news, which is not too often of late, the hey, the up moves are very strong. So keep that in mind as you're preparing. I think the Nifty may not move too much, but I think there could be enough moves there as well. But bottom up stock picking could actually result tremendous gains. So be mindful of that. Anushi, you can come in, but we'll give you the mic after we're done with Mahima.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, just come in. Yeah.
I think the interesting part that Manav said was that now there's no further downside that we are expecting with regards to where charts are concerned. We are just forming supports for the next runaway that we are going to see in the markets from here on. I think that was the interesting takeaway that I took from
the
that
other one
chart.
was IT, right? Because IT, we've been speaking so much fundamental on the side of things, and he came out with a view that IT should also go up from here at least 10 to 15%. And while the quantum is not important, it's just that all triggers with that, and you all can come in on the Infosys buyback as well, because the amount of buyback was surprising to everybody. Everybody was expecting between 10 to 13,000 crore is what they'll do. They come out with 18,000 crores in terms of buyback
at a 19% premium.
And I think this could, while if the others follow suit or no, I think this will get investors back in IT is what I feel, or at least put them or put IT on their radar, to say the least.
Very interesting. Okay. We're talking about Nepal. Does Saisha want to come in? Producers, if she wants to come in, please send her in. But this is the interesting piece now, because we're talking about consumption and what's happening there. And by the way, it's a, when I was talking to the analysts, my view was that because the country or the economy depends so much on tourism, this is probably the space where tourism takes a big hit, right?
Absolutely.
So how is it that companies won't get impacted? Now, Mahima, you've looked at this very closely. Tell us a bit about it.
Right. So, from an FMCG point of view, specifically Dabur, Britannia, and ITC, all of these three have manufacturing facilities in Nepal. So, and Britannia has gone out and said that they have right now stopped their manufacturing facility for a while because of the kind of unrest that's going on in Nepal. So they are set to, of course, see some hit. We saw this happening in Bangladesh as well as Sri Lanka earlier. So I think near term, yes, supply chain might be impacted, some impact in terms of the top line also, but it's not major. For Dabur, it's around 8%. So that's the company that stands to probably lose the most from the entire pack. But something like ITC, Varun Beverages is around 3% of their total FY25 revenues. So not much of an erosion in terms of top line, might be probably recovered in the second half if the unrest doesn't continue, but short-term supply chain might be disrupted. Over and above that, even Bikaji recently had entered into a JV in Nepal. So Bikaji is also something that might see some disruption in the near term.
So Bikaji and Dabur, two things that stand out.
Yes. And in terms of some other counters which have less presence or less percentage in terms of revenue that comes from Nepal, you have your Berger Paints, which is around 2%. Asian Paints, HUL, etc. are just 1%. So not much of a impact in terms of top line for these companies per se. But yes, of course, to keep in mind, because they will also see some slight impact in the near term when it comes to the supply chain management. We in fact spoke to Royal Orchid today also, and Royal Orchid has presence in Kathmandu as well as some cities in Nepal, and he also said the same thing, that because of the unrest, tourism might be impacted, like you mentioned, right?
It's logical, right? The country depends on tourism.
And for them, and that's what they said, that till this unrest is actually cooled off, until tourists actually gain confidence back, tourism might be impacted.
Great. Okay. Mahima, okay, we have a special appearance. Mahima, thanks for this though. And Anushi, welcome in on the show. But Mahima, just stay on, I'll just finish off Nepal, right? So Saisha,
Yes.
just introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Saisha Hayes, and I'm the new intern here.
At NDTV Profit. Welcome.
Yes,
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
So, Saisha, we do not talk politics here.
Yes.
This is purely money making or money
Yes.
saving. We've saved a lot of money already, courtesy these two people. But Nepal,
Yeah.
right? We just spoke about the Mahima's views out here. What would you want to add to this? No politics.
No politics. Oh my God. As a political science student, you're making this very hard for me, I must say.
We do that for a living.
But to be honest, politics and money are intertwined. So can I spin it a little bit that way?
No politics.
No politics. Okay, I would say that, as you said, obviously I think the tourism is definitely going to be impacted because people don't want to stay in a place where they feel like there's a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of unrest. The fact that this was led by young people is also something quite remarkable. And I wonder what the future of Nepal is going to look like. How are they going to re-strategize their economy? What are the kind of policies that they're going to do when they're dealing with this kind of, economic impact? That I think is going to be interesting. What are your thoughts, guys?
Fair enough. I think confidence that we're safe traveling out there, and that's why I think it'll take some time for sure. Like Puneet was also mentioning that he wants to go to some place in the
So actually, I'll tell you, the
So
issue
that
is here that
confidence.
for Bangladesh, textile was a very big space. So they had to ensure that stays. That's not the case with Nepal. You don't have consumption as the major contributor to the economy. So I feel that this could still be elongated and you could see a higher impact potentially
No idea.
on these things. Of
No
course.
idea. Let's not profess.
Yeah, of course. But I feel like for textile, there was like a very strong focus, and Pearl Global and all of those companies have spoken to us. I don't know if that'll be the focus on consumption at that time.
But viewers, remember, we hope that this unrest dies down soon.
Very
So
soon, yes.
that's the piece on Nepal, and we wrap it up. But Mahima, thank you for joining in.
Thank you
Saisha,
so
before we
much.
thank you, what else do you track, and will we be seeing more of you here on Bulls, Bear and Banter?
I hope so.
Okay.
Currently, what I'm working on is an AI content series, which
Great.
is AI for everyone. So
Okay.
we basically decode the future one tool at a time.
You will see it on NDTV Profit at some point of time. But Sasha, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank
And
you
if you
so
like watching Sasha on the show, please give a thumbs up. Let's run a poll whether you like seeing Sasha or no. Sasha, the answer may be negative too. Keep that in mind.
Oh my God.
But
Thank you so
for
much
joining
for
in.
having me.
Yeah. Okay, Anushi.
Hi.
Hello. So one thing that we learned today from a few people was that the bet on Capex may not be over. In
Right.
fact, a lot of there is a note I think which came 2 days back, right, from JP Morgan, which
I
said
think-
that it might be a good time to buy into Capex because some of these negatives are priced in. What is it?
No, I think it was the opposite case scenario as well, right? Where the government capex was going to be on the muted side because of all these rate cuts that have happened. On the contrary, so the spending portion of it would be capped. So there would be some bit of pressure on these capital good companies which are there, even the infra names that we are looking at. Along with that, even private capex, if we are seeing what it suggests, like while that has been on the higher side, there could be some bit of pressure building onto that. So that was the narrative that I was reading into. So what's your view over there?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, but see, thank you, Puneet. Thank you for helping me out here. The JP Morgan note on capital goods, I was like, okay. I'm like, I don't want. So there's a pocket of opportunity amidst a Capex breather. And their view is that stock prices are factoring in a large part of the deceleration that is likely to come in. Their top calls, Puneet, thank you for this. They prefer L&T, CG Power, Cummins, and Thermax. Thermax, they initiate with an overweight. Target price of 3869. Cummins overweight, target price of 4649. CG Power overweight with 840. Remember, it's an initiating coverage report. So must be a
This
change of
was-
analyst or otherwise. Right?
Yeah.
This was a couple of days back.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Okay.
CG Power, also the other driver is the semiconductor business that it is venturing into. It has
Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to know about it.
So it's a 3,000 crore, 7,000 crore. I think it's 7,000 crore of an investment that they're looking into, wherein they're going to be setting up a OSAT facility. And from there onwards, this is like a 5 to 6 years of time frame that we are looking at. From where on, it wants to expand in this particular area. And if you look at CG Power also, the growth has been pretty strong considering just this part of the business that we are looking at in the recent 1 to 3 months of time frame that we are seeing.
Okay.
I think the other
A
bit
lot of
is-
questions, by the way, so we need to
Yeah.
move quickly to questions. But
The other thing that is very interesting is that within semiconductors there are these 2-3 big players like Keynes, like CG Power, and of course Tata on the
Tata.
private side. But within the smaller bracket also, you're seeing a lot of companies that have either navigated towards packaging, and I think Anushi does the 1:30 p.m. show, which is small cap buzzers, and you had a management, I think ISMO.
ISMO is one,
Not a
yeah.
recommendation, but ISMO is now gone into packaging of semiconductors. I don't know if
They're
you have
into
any.
photonics business part
Yeah,
of
I
it.
don't know if you have any couple of points that they said in the interview. Did we interview them?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
ISMO came on the show and they have like 4 verticals. So currently, if you look at the semiconductor part of it, that forms about 4% of their contribution. And they want to take this to up to 20% or so. And they're seeing high growth projections from this. Other than that, even MIC Electronics, if you are seeing, those
Yeah.
are some smaller names which are venturing into the space, especially after the semicon event also that has taken place. So that was one interesting area, that we are looking at.
okay, now we have a lot of questions today.
Yep.
Should we start with those?
Yes. You want to start with the insurance one, or you want to start with the India-US trade talks?
No, the India state talks.
Yes.
I think those were constructive because Sergio Gore kind of mentioned that
Yeah.
one article suggested that he said that President Donald Trump might visit the Quad, might visit India for the Quad as well, which is a good thing. May visit. I think hinted at that. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way, right?
Yeah,
Part
yeah.
one. Part two, he said that India and US are closer, are not far apart from a trade deal.
Yeah.
So that's a positive as well. And I think this week we've spoken enough number of times about Donald Trump's post and PM Modi reciprocating warmly. So I think that's another thing, and this is a big thaw. So you're hoping for this to happen sooner rather than later. Maybe they might surprise us with a deal before fall
Yeah.
this year.
And it's because you were at the conclave as well, and of NDTV Profit GST, and I think you also spoke to Piyush Goyal. You asked him a question on why all of these trade talks with these countries are so important. Also, you want to share perspective on that as well, because it will probably lead, those conversations that have happened with Europe, with Australia, will eventually lead to us probably having a
Hopefully, over the medium term.
better deal with US as well as another key prospect.
Yeah, maybe.
So with that fact,
You're right. I mean, that's what Piyush Goyal alluded to as well.
Yeah,
A lot of numbers out there he spoke about
Yeah.
on different bilateral upticks that will happen, or rather the uptick in exports that happens due to these bilaterals.
so these talks already in progress. Along with that, there being higher projections of now a September rate cut. Is that why like focus back on these IT counters that we are looking
Yeah,
at?
man, don't remind me of the rate card. I'll have to give a coffee. But anyways, be that as it may.
I think
But
Mrinal
better
had a
coffee.
question also. Hi Niraj, how much Fed fund the rate cut on Wednesday? 50 whips or 75?
I think Mrinal's smiley is because of that, because I had said no rate cuts, right? This was about a month and a half back.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, since the data has come out, I've changed my stance. So
Yeah.
I don't think 50 hoga, because
Yeah.
if I think Mrinal, if they do 50, then it'll seem optically that he's buying down to pressure from Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So he may believe that there's a case for a rate cut. He might do 25 and then leave it for the future. That's my belief, by the way.
I think
So
the
that's one thing.
inflation data still kept inching down, right? I think the latest PPI data of this month also
Yeah, but I think the
was
Fed action will be because of the
labor
job.
market.
I
labor
think
market.
the unemployment,
So because the one startling thing which I saw the other day, and this revision happened on Monday, I think, for the US for 12 months ended March 2025, and they've revised jobs downwards by 900,000 personnel.
Yeah, I mean the numbers
and
maybe XYZ, but it's just a lot of
and
numbers.
it just seems too much.
Yeah.
We also had another question from
Insurance,
Begin,
right?
Yeah, but
No,
similar
insurance
that,
तो वही है यार, मुझे लग रहा है कि ITC यार, input tax credit का पंगा है, right? So
Yeah.
until that clarity comes in, because effectively they have to pass on the whole thing. They don't get benefits out of it.
Yeah.
So could there be more adoption? Maybe, but they don't get the benefits of ITC. I think everybody's asked the government for that separate sectors. So I think once that clarity comes in, maybe insurance stocks will do well.
Yeah. Vigeen Dharan had a similar question. Will RBI cut rates as well if Fed cuts rates by 25 bips next week? Or will RBI need more time, one Fed rate cut as well?
Yeah, I don't think the RBI is depending on the Fed per
Yeah,
se. I think the RBI's trajectory has been set beforehand. So I think the Reserve Bank of India has been proactive in helping the economy by cutting rates, by loosening purse strings on NBFCs as well. So I think you frankly got to give credit to the RBI 2025 has been a smashing year in terms of what RBI has done to support. So I don't think the RBI will depend on the Fed, to be honest.
I think they've done the gold.
I mean, they may do it if the Fed cuts, but I don't think
Yeah.
the RBI is dependent on the Fed, is the point I'm saying.
Yeah. So because even the gold finance norms also, which were expected to be so severe, didn't actually turn out to be so severe. So that was another one. Ayushman Lalani is asking, will Varun Beverages show traction in volumes after September, considering the GST rate cut, as the price action doesn't reflect the sentiment?
No, it's negative, no, for them. Well, I think manufacturers of
these
aerated
drinks, they had raised.
hasn't been taken. So there's no positive for Varun Beverages from GST, I think.
The thing was that CLS had also written on it that earlier Varun Beverages, so the rate was 28 plus 12 earlier. Now it's a 40% flat GST. What CLS's view was that they could only claim the ITC on 28%, but now they can do that on 40%. And that is where the difference comes, that it could actually be positive because there's more 12% that they can claim their ITC on. That's the view, and that's why they have a target price over 740 on that one. So it actually could be not that negative as the price is reflecting, to be honest.
Any other view?
This one question that I was reading about the Tega acquisition as well. Now, we are seeing another day where the stock has been under pressure.
We actually didn't do the BBS, so we couldn't address Tega. It was a mega acquisition, almost 5 to 6 times.
Yeah, it was a very interesting one that we are looking at, considering the market cap of the company. Firstly, 13,000 crore is the market cap of Tega. If you look at their FY25 revenue, that's about 1,400 crore or something. Now they've acquired Molycop, which is at a EV consideration of about 13,000 crore is what we are looking at. And if you just look at their overall revenues, that is 8 times of what Tega is currently making. Now, this also includes a funding part of around 2,000 crore or 3,000 crore coming from Tega. This is, along with Apollo that they're doing, they'll be having about a 77% of stake in the company going forward. So, but, the overall concerns which we are looking at is firstly on the debt side. While the management did address that, debt would not be reflected in the company's book, it does pose somewhat of a risk going forward in terms of how the balance sheet would shape up for the company going forward. Along with that, even if you look at the margins, now, if you see Molycop's growth in the last 3 years, that has been on a declining trend that we are looking at. While margins also, if you are seeing, is around 11% or odd. So, while Tega, if you look at 24% margins. So, with now 8 times, with Molycop being 8 times bigger than that of Tega, their blended margins will then fall to about 12% or odd. So, overall trajectory going forward, while there would be a substantial increase in terms of revenue, it's just about the balance sheet. What would be the concerns, what would be the margin trajectory going forward, how
but he mentioned that he's not taking any debt.
He did say that the debt would be recourse, and in 3 years or so timeline that they'll be deleveraging the company currently, but currently it has about a $1 billion of debt itself. While if you just look at Tega's debt positioning, it's about 123 crore or odd, so if I'm not wrong. So that is an interesting part overall, considering, while there are a lot of synergies in terms of where the expansion portfolio is, it's just onto the terms of, these couple of concerns that are there on the street. What is your view on the same?
No, I mean, okay, so see, there are two things here. One, that he guided to EBITDA moving from 340 crores currently to $350 million, right? So therefore, that's nearly an 8x, 9x jump in 3 years. So they clearly believe that the uptick revenue, etc. Right? But we do not know the diluted capital. I don't have the maths there.
They said that 74.8% is the stake that they hold currently, and that would go down to 64%.
So that's just a 15% dilution.
Yeah. So it's still going to be, 65% or odd.
So nothing dramatic.
So nothing dramatic as such.
The answer to this is that traditionally companies that have tried to do a buyout of a company that is way higher than them,
right?
Not everybody succeeded, and I think that therein lies the issue. I think the street is worried about that. Will they be able to manage such a large acquisition?
Yeah.
Time will tell.
But we actually see, like, for a prolonged time that the stock doesn't move because of absorption of that, right? We saw that in Hindalco in 2008. We saw that in Samvardhana also, when they tried to acquire another company which was much bigger than theirs as well. So do you think it'll be just like, until there's clarity, there could be a sideways momentum for this one?
I don't know. I mean, difficult to call what a stock price performance might be like, but it does seem like that the street is worried that they have bitten more than they can chew.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, we have 3 more minutes. Let's take a bit of a rapid fire to the questions. Yeah. So
Kunal Mathur had a question. With the GST rate cut and the auto sector hopeful of growth in sales, please analyze the impact of Shriram Finance.
Anyone
We'll actually
tracks it?
do that. I think we'll get Harsh to answer on it because it's also commercial vehicles, a lot of which they focus on, and that has actually also seen a reduction from 20 to 18. And most managements are also positive in that OEM space. So we'll get Harsh to give an exact number, but it should benefit Shriram as well. So that's good.
So Devanshu, your point is well that with the IPO of Jio, Tata Capital grow lined up, there might be an impact, negative impact because of liquidity. Yes, you are right. It could happen. Sanchit Goel, how does the hotel sector look? Stocks like Royal Orchid, Lemon Tree gave a breakout, but currently consolidating. Good time to buy for a few months. Well, you could argue the GST benefits them, Lemon Tree and Royal Orchid for sure. So if you believe that, their growth targets have been strong from the last conversations that we've had.
Royal
So that
Orchid
should be
doing
okay.
a lot of expansion as
Expansion.
well. Greenfield,
We also
brownfield.
had them on KYC today, and subtle, just plug for Harsh since he's not here because he would do it anyway. But still, that's one.
Okay. Stock to buy have 5K in hand. Jen. What we'll do is try and ask this question on either Ask Profit 10:30 to 11:30 or maybe on the closing show today. You may want to tune in for that. Right? And should we sell the stocks on a sudden up 10-15% without any news and rebuy at lower levels because higher levels are not getting sustained? Well, if the move is without any news, sure you could, right, Sanchit? But I would suspect that the news will follow or the news will preempt stock price move. Effectively, the India-US relationship coin. That will be the driving factor. Cool. Okay, I think we are done, right?
Yeah.
We're done with the time. So, okay. Well, Jenna, I think Puneet just spoke about Shriram Finance and saying that we'll get in Harsh on Monday to talk about this. So let's wait and watch. Sorry, we have to wrap up the show. Plus, it's better that Harsh does it as opposed to I do it. So let's get in Harsh on Monday to talk about it. But Anushi, Puneet, Niraj, and the producers, thank you so much. And viewers, thank you so much for tuning in.